Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Loading. In this episode, I will do a little bit of Sverchok improvisation. So basically, I want to experiment with a Sverchok loop monad and a couple of nodes. So just let's get started. Sverchok add-on, and I will be using Ngon. It's just a 2D shape like that, and I will be using the split edge. Split edges is relatively new nodes in Sverchok, and this thing is pretty cool because it basically split the edges or shape of objects. So this is loop monad split. So if we have this guy, we pipe in this vertices and edges data, we will see that we get the edges being split. So I found this pretty cool. You can also turn on mirror, which is which will mirror the split, and yeah. And so if we want to do improv, maybe we want to smooth it as well. Smooth vertices also will work with edges, I think. So smooth vertices, it works as well. So you can see even just by doing this, you can see you can get quite an interesting result. Okay, split and edges, they are pretty cool. But what if we kind of like doing it split again over here? So we are splitting this guy again. And what if we smooth it again? Now it's starting to get pretty interesting. And with the different iterations, you get a different result. And this is also, this factor also kind of something that will affect the final result. So if we bake it out, you see you get this shape. And if you increase the number here and then you play around with this value, you're gonna get another different result. Even though this is just like a 2D shapes, but this is kind of interesting. I kind of wanna play around with it. Meaning like this, you know, like over and over again. We can use Sverchok monad. So basically, if we have these operations in the middle, we can kind of loop it and iterate over and over again using monad. So I'm selecting the middle operations, tap spacebar, and then create. I select create monad from selected nodes, and we're gonna be inside the group. And this thing we can iterate over and over. We can loop it multiple times basically. So this is what happened now. We have a monad. We can call it split monad or split X, and we can turn on loop and then try this. Loop it one time, second, 3 times. So yeah, so this is kind of the idea. Currently, what would be interesting is that if we actually able to change this vector and iteration number. I have not played around with that idea yet. I don't know if that's kind of possible. If I just say I'm using this iterations and vector, so vector, iteration, and vector, and I go up and here. So that's kind of working. But it's gonna be doing it for every iteration. So if I increase the loop again and again, so we get quite an abstract looking result very quickly. I'm kind of wondering if we can vectorize this guy. Maybe we cannot. Maybe that's that's possible. I don't know if it's if I just use like a 2 of this guy and using a different vector, but that's gonna be pretty heavy, I believe. So that's, I'm changing the vector and iteration. We can quickly get like very wild geometry. See if I bake it out. See, we get this result, which is very unusual. Perhaps you can use like also modifier, like Blender's own smooth modifier is also pretty cool. I like to use this and see the result I'm getting. So if we use smooth, it's back to the original. But if you use like subdivision, sometimes this will give you interesting result. And okay, so this is interesting, right? You can play around with this, and you can actually do more if you go inside the monad. And then, so we have split edges, smooth vertices. That's kind of fine. I'll save this. While we can also use the bevel, and bevel can be more interesting if you actually have face, because bevel nodes works if you have like a polygon face data. So you just pipe it in like this and then see what's gonna come out. Let's give this a try anyway. So let's use just a single monad. So we have vector, we have iterations, we have this guy working. The bevel, okay, maybe turn on vertex only in this case. Play around with this number, and you start to see all kind of really wild kind of effects that you don't normally get. So I'm just plugging in all these attributes from inside the monad and then go up here, and then we can now play around with this value. We are getting something that's looking like a snowflake kind of effects. It's very geometric kind of snowflake, but still pretty interesting, right? Very alien looking. Look at that. And this is like, that's one time loop, second 3. See, you start to get like very wild abstract looking design, like almost like a fractal even. So I kind of like this. If I like something, I bake it out. And this is of course just a polygon edge, but in Blender if you tap spacebar and then convert to curve, you get a curve, and with a curve you can extrude and add depth. It's becoming like a solid object, even though it's not like, this is like a curve. We want it to be full, and copy paste this and then maybe convert it back to mesh. You can do this using Sverchok. I'm just smooth it out, and you get this that you can print out. I don't know, it's a 2D of course, but you know, even with a 2D you can always extrude it up if you want something like that. I don't know what for, but yeah, just some ideas, you know. So yeah, that's actually pretty much it, I guess, for this live noding. It's just an idea that you can try and then play around with. This I found that the vector, if we are doing it twice, it looks more interesting and it's less alien, but this can be an idea. See, if you randomize the phi with an end gone, you also get very abstract looking design. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Keep it simple. 12, 10 looking pretty good. That's nice. And play around with the vector. You can iterate how many times you want to iterate, not too much, 5 times, and then play with this bevel factor, not too much. See, there's always this points where we goes over and it's kind of explode, but if you keep it like subtle, you get something that looks, for our eyes or our brain, this looks kind of beautiful or something. Oh, that's nice. They probably use this kind of design for, I don't know, there's this kind of like light festival in Japan where they have a lot of decoration like this, and then it looks really intricate. I kind of like it. It's like a unlimited design. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop right here and I'm gonna save this. Hopefully this is can be useful for you, just for creative ideas. Let me know what you think. A lot of things you can do inside this loop iterations. Basically, you have to make sure the input and the output have vertices and edges, or some kind of input output that kind of can be looped over and over again. And if you ensure that, this guy will take care of the rest. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks again for tuning in, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.